Hello everyone, this is the story of William Hanna and Joseph Barbera. Imagine Hollywood in the late 1930s. The golden haze of the studios, the clatter of typewriters, the hum of projectors, and somewhere deep in the backlot, a young animator named William Hanna, a former engineer by training, walking the halls of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer's animation department. Bill Hanna, as he was often called, was not your typical animator. He had been a construction engineer, but the Great Depression had taken that career away from him. So he turned to art, found his way into animation, and by 1937 he was embedded in the world of ink, paint and cartoon ideas. Around the same time, in bustling New York City, there was Joseph Joe Barbera, a banker by day, but at heart, a cartoonist. Barbera had worked at Irving Trust Company, crunching numbers, but in his spare time he submitted gag sketches and cartoons to magazines. He sold his first drawing to Collier's, and that small victory spoke louder to him than bank ledgers ever could. Eventually, in 1937, he decided to leap. He left banking behind and joined MGM's animation department. So there they were, Bill and Joe, two very different men, but walking into the same studio, sitting across from each other, thinking up funny little worlds. They became fast friends. The way their strengths complemented each other was almost poetic. Barbera, with his boundless energy, his endless stream of ideas, his jokes and stories. And Hanna, calm but focused, master of timing, of structure, of knowing exactly where a gag should land. One day, as the two chatted over coffee in a cluttered story room, Joe said, "What about two characters, constant rivals, always chasing, but never really hating each other?" Bill nodded. He sketched in his mind. Chase, conflict, laughter. Joe drew a storyboard, fleshing out the cat and mouse. They pitched the idea to Fred Quimby, the producer at MGM, who, honestly, wasn't very excited at first. But they persisted. The result was a one-shot cartoon called Puss Gets the Boot, released in 1940, starring a cat and a mouse, though they weren't yet named, Tom and Jerry. MGM gave it a chance, and audiences responded. The chaos, the physical comedy, the non-stop action, it clicked. Bill and Joe watched as people laughed. They saw potential. Quimby greenlit more, and the next few shorts gradually evolved. The cat and mouse got names: Tom and Jerry. Over the next years, Bill Hanna supervised the animation. He timed each movement, decided where the music rose and fell, and told the animators how to make each fight or chase feel alive. Joe Barbera sketched out storyboards, designed gags, gave personality to every throw, every crash, every pratfall. Together, they created more than 100 Tom and Jerry theatrical shorts. Now, these weren't just small cartoons. Tom and Jerry traveled beyond the cartoon studio. They danced with Gene Kelly in Anchors, Away, 1945, and later with Esther Williams in Dangerous When Wet. And their work wasn't just beloved by fans. It earned accolades. Bill and Joe collected 7 Academy Awards for their shorts between the 1940s and early 1950s, but the world was changing. By the mid-1950s, television was on the rise. Big-screen cartoons like Tom and Jerry were expensive. MGM spent tens of thousands of dollars per short. Meanwhile, re-releasing older cartoons became more profitable than making new ones. So in 1957, MGM decided to close their animation department. Just like that, Bill and Joe found themselves laid off. They could have walked away, but instead, they decided to bet on themselves. With just $4,000 between them, they founded a new company, at first called HB Enterprises, which soon became Hanna-Barbera Productions. They partnered with Screen Gems, a division of Columbia Pictures, which provided the money and distribution muscle for their television dreams. Their first TV show? the rough and ready show about a friendly cat and dog. It wasn't flashy. The budget was tiny compared to feature cartoons. But it was a start, because money was tight, and TV didn't pay like Hollywood theaters. Bill and Joe had to get creative. They pioneered a technique called limited animation. Instead of having thousands of unique drawings, they reused frames, relied on clever layouts, and emphasized witty dialogue and character over fluid action. This new method was controversial among purists, but for Hanna-Barbera it was a lifeline. Suddenly, they could produce cartoons weekly for TV. Their art changed. Heads became detachable. Bodies stayed still. Expressions repeated. But their writing remained sharp, funny, and full of heart. In 1958, they released The Huckleberry Hound Show. The laid-back, smooth-talking Huckleberry Hound appealed not just to kids, but to adults too. That same show won an Emmy Award, one of the first ever for animation on television. And then came the Flintstones. In 1960, perhaps their most iconic creation. Picture a Stone Age sitcom. Cavemen, dinosaurs, foot-powered cars, but all with modern sitcom problems. Bills, neighbors, kids, jobs. Fred Flintstone's catchphrase, "Yabba, dabba doo," became legendary. It wasn't just for kids. The show was meant for prime time, and families tuned in. Soon, they took viewers to the future with the Jetsons. Debuted in 1962. Flying cars, robot maids, space-age gadgetry. Meanwhile, other characters kept rolling out. Yogi Bear, Top Cat, Magilla Gorilla, Johnny Quest, Scooby-Doo, and many more. Hanna-Barbera wasn't just a studio. It was a factory of imagination. They did more than TV shows. They made music, merchandising, educational film strips, specials, and even feature-length films. Over decades, the studio produced over 3,000 half-hour animated shows, and their characters became part of culture worldwide. Through it all, Bill and Joe remained partners, both in business and in creative vision. Joe, with his endless ideas and comic instincts. Bill, with his steady hand, perfect timing, and sense for production. Their friendship spanned more than 60 years. In their later years, they were honored again and again. Hanna passed away in 2001, at age 90. Barbera continued for a few more years, helping steward the legacy of their work until his death in 2006. Even today, their creations, Tom and Jerry, Fred Flintstone, Scooby-Doo, still charm new generations, reminding us of the magic that two very different men could make when they believed in each other and in laughter.
Like, share,